this week's showcase. I guess I don't know if I don't do it weekly. Just whenever I find really fascinating people that I network with or connect with, and I'm like, you know what, my audience needs to learn more about this person. And I get really excited, so I do a showcase, and we just jump on a live and we talk about who you are and what you do. So welcome, Lorna.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for having me. And thank you, God, for the challenges with the internet.
Right?
It
Yeah,
makes it,
technology doesn't always make our lives as easy as we hope it will.
but you know what it does do?
Hmm.
It always teaches a lesson, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, I could have given up and said, let's go just do it on Facebook. I tried LinkedIn, I tried my other profiles until it finally worked. So, my lesson this morning already with technology is that you
Yeah.
never give up. You
Yeah.
never give up.
Absolutely.
If it's something that you really want, no
Hmm.
matter what it looks like, you never give up. Hi,
Yeah.
my name is Lorna.
Hey, I love and see this is why I love you. This is why like when we connected, I'm like, I can't wait to showcase her to everyone who follows me because you do have that just brilliant like shininess, I guess, about you and positive outlook that I
Thank you.
love.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. Thank you. And it's
yeah.
positive, but it's positive by choice.
Yeah,
So
that's huge. So could you share a bit about who you are and what you do?
yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Lorna. As I said, hi, my name is Lorna. I was going to say I'm a loving, joyful, powerful leader in the leadership training program that I've coached and
Love it.
mentored. We have our contract, so whenever we're out of our contract, we know we're not living in our authenticity. So my name is Lorna, and I'm a female empowerment leadership coach. I am a business strategist, and I'm also a real estate broker. And I help female entrepreneurs to find good leads, vetted leads, and connections with strategic partners so that they can grow their income. How do I do that, you might ask? Just through authentic connections with vision and purpose. So that's what I do for entrepreneurs who are willing to do the work to find the right vetted connections to skyrocket their income. And I just love doing that. I'm excited to be here to share some tidbits and nuggets with your audience
I love
today.
it.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I love what you said, who are willing to do the work. Because
Yeah.
sometimes if we don't align with people who are trying to help, who aren't willing to do the work,
Yeah.
things can go south for them.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
that makes
yeah.
a big
And,
difference.
and go south for us too as
Right.
coaches, right? It
Yeah.
goes south for us too as coaches. I've had quite a few of those as well, and
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this, right? Because it's about the right people. So here's my thing, and this is through experience, guys. I'm going to speak to you through experience. I've learned along the way, whether it's in real estate or in coaching, I've learned that you must connect with the right people. And I remember when I was raising my son. He's grown now. That's why I said when I was raising him, because I'm not raising him anymore. He got to raise himself now. When I was raising my son, I used to always tell him, son, not everybody is your cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I used to say it even more specifically. I said, not everybody is your assignment. And I strongly believe that
Ooh.
business as well, not everybody is your assignment.
Yeah.
And you can overlay that into your personal relationships too, right? Not
Right.
everybody is your assignment, right? And when I say
Yeah.
assignment, I mean people come into your life for a reason, a season.
Yep.
It's the same in business. They come into your life for a reason and a season.
Yeah.
This is why most people, I call it coach hop. They coach hop for years and they can't figure it out. That's why
Yep.
they're doing that, right? It's because people come into your life for a reason and a season, right? And
Absolutely.
it's up to us to be aware enough to know why that person is there for that season
Yeah.
and don't miss the lesson in it, right?
Yeah. And knowing when the season is changing,
And knowing when the season is changing.
and
Absolutely.
it's okay to bless and release. I mean, we serve purposes in each other's lives all the time. It's okay
Mhm.
to bless and release when you're no longer in the same season anymore. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of entrepreneurs really struggle with that in both business and in their relationships of when
Yeah.
it's time to kind of let go of something,
Yeah, yeah.
or stop
Yeah,
doing.
because everything is a mirror, right? I was reading this book
Yes.
this morning. It's called It's a very popular.
Game of
I don't
life
know if
and how
it's
to.
popular. It may be popular in the transformation world. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. It's an
Hmm.
old book. She probably wrote this in 1947,
Oh,
but it's so
wow.
still applicable, right? And one of the things
Wow.
it said is, um, and this is why I talk about looking for the lesson, because life is a mirror and it's always mirroring people are always mirroring you, right?
Hmm.
um, yes, we're talking about business.
Yep.
And this what makes me different from other coaches, right? I could give you all the strategies all day long, and I can tell you what to do to get your business to grow all day long. But if
Yeah.
you're missing like the foundational pieces that come with just life itself, then
Yeah.
at some point it's gonna crack. It's kind of like you're a Bible girl too, right? You're a Jesus girl, right? So I could talk
Yes,
Jesus on your
we
so
did. Yes.
so remember the scripture that talks about, because everybody goes through this, right? Remember the
Right.
scripture that talks about um how one person built their house on the sand, one person built their house on the rock, and I think it
Okay.
was three different things. It was all about foundation, right? So
Mm,
foundational pieces in your business are life lessons that you
yeah.
then take into the business. So if the business doesn't work, take the case that the foundation is shaky,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why I love the fact that you can use the lessons as your examples that help you build the foundation for
Yeah.
whatever you're creating, right? So
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to pay attention to the lessons in life as you move along.
Absolutely. And I think part of that too is, we teach people how to treat us in business. It's
Mhm.
about what we allow. People say, "Oh, they took advantage of me." Well, what did you allow? Taking responsibility to me is huge as well.
Yeah,
You have
big.
to look at what did you allow?
Yeah, I teach that in my program too. I talk about, I have a 5-step process that I walk people through initially. It's called awareness, acknowledgement, responsibility, integrity, and acceptance. So
Ooh,
in the 5 phases, it's 5 phases of really getting to the bottom of your vision. Like you get
yeah.
into your vision through that process, right? Because if responsibility is, when I was in corporate America, when I was in high school, as I was growing up in my mom's house,
Yeah.
everybody used to be like, you gotta be responsible for that. And I'm going, hold on one second. Why am I responsible for you? Until I started in this transformation journey, I didn't understand responsibility. I think
Ooh,
it was plain as day when I came
yeah.
into transformation. I didn't understand. Responsibility means the response that you have to any given situation. It doesn't mean to take anything. It actually
Right.
means to how you, the individual, are responding based on your awareness
Mhm.
of the thing,
Yeah.
right? How do you respond to it? So that whole responsibility conversation was shifted for me when I got into the whole leadership training
Wow.
world, the transformation world back in 2008, right? Because
Wow.
before that, it was like this burden of the beast of burden that I would take on from other people.
Yeah.
And until now, up until, coming into this world, I used to do that, right? But as you were saying, in coaching, when you take on a client, you gotta look on the
Mm.
difference, be responsible versus taking responsibility. You gotta
Yeah.
be responsible in that conversation when you initially brought them on. Well, why do you feel that you're the best person to support them? And if you felt that way, then you gotta stay in it with them.
Yeah.
That's responsibility.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
long as they're willing, though, as long as they're willing to do
Key
the work.
yeah, key phrase, as long as they're willing. And I think as coaches, it's our responsibility to make sure that they're at that place in their business and are willing and ready. You can't coach somebody who's not going to be coachable. You can't do it.
Not happening.
Not happening.
Not happening. I
Exactly.
literally just parted ways with a client last week with this.
Wow.
It was not, and I mean,
Yeah.
we love what we do, right, Wendy?
Yes.
And we
Absolutely.
will turn ourselves inside out. I know I will turn myself inside out to help somebody, to support somebody. Nobody needs
Mhm.
help, to support somebody
Right.
through their transformation, right?
Yes.
And I remember one time in my training, one of my mentors said to me, as I was going through this kind of phase with one of the clients, I'm
Yes.
like, what do I get to shift in myself so
Yeah.
that she would show up a different way? And he was like, she gotta be willing. And the
Yeah.
day he said that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, right? That's the responsibility piece,
Yeah.
right? You can only be responsible for how you show up. When you say
Yeah.
you're a coach and you said this is what the client is going to get, you got to be responsible to deliver that, to fulfill
Right.
on that. And if you're fulfilling on that and the client isn't showing up, then they get to be responsible for their piece
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yep.
It's a yin yang, right? It's a give
Yeah.
and take. It's not a one way street. Is my point. It's not a one
Right.
sided coin. I could go in all the different directions to to give you proof that it's not a it you know it's both ways.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so
That's
super powerful.
great.
So super powerful.
That's I love that. And I consulted with a business once where the lady who had called on me to consult because I was teaching a complaint free world at the time. I still am, but she wanted me to come in and consult. She goes, I have one employee who's when I hired her, she's just brilliant, perfect for the job, but as she's doing her job, she's leaving off these really key things that she needs to do. She's and
Hmm.
I have over and over re-educated her, given her ideas and tips and tools, and she's still not doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, have you given her the responsibility of doing it instead of like me, I'm doing this. I'm like, why don't you just ask her? If it were possible for you to catch these things, how might you do it? Put it in
Yes.
her lap, have her come up with with the solutions that she needs because we
Yeah.
all don't function the same way.
No.
Sticky notes for one person is a dry erase board for somebody else.
Yeah,
you
it's a
know
computer database for somebody else. They love to
yeah,
type. Yeah, type it
yeah,
in. Yeah, and that's so important, right? So,
yeah,
I love that you're saying that because one of the things that I talk about and I teach is um, operations, operational, how do I say this? Operational character, for lack of a better word.
okay,
Everybody has different characteristics of how they show up.
yeah,
Everybody has different characteristics of how they learn.
yep,
Everybody has different characteristics of how they interpret. So,
yes,
as a coach, it's now I'm going to use responsibility again.
yep,
It's on us as a coach to know, first of all, our own
yeah,
operating system,
yep,
right? So that we can then be able to shift and adapt to the client, right?
yep,
And
yep,
also recognize who the client is operationally so that you can communicate in the way that they
yes,
can hear you, right? So
oh
that was
gosh,
perfect. The thing that you said to her, which was, give her autonomy to say to
yeah.
you, well, how would you do it?
Yeah, how can
Right?
you make sure you do this? But what's your responsibility? So she told me, I'm like, you said she's brilliant. You hired her for a reason. She can do her job, and yet she's routinely missing these key things.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, this was fascinating to me. People like we want to fix it. We want to be the fixers. Most of us are fixers, obviously, but sometimes we have to hand off that responsibility. Like there's only so much you can do. But
there's only so much you can
you
do.
said something, and maybe this comes up in your coaching quite a bit, is learning how people communicate because we all
Yeah,
communicate differently. I'm
yeah.
going to use like the Facebook Messenger, for example. Like some people will send me audio messages,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's okay for me to listen to them where I'm at, but sometimes it's not. So sometimes those will get under my skin, even though I love it because I can hear someone's voice. I'll send them sometimes, but it's not always the best because now if I have to go back and find that message, I have to go back and listen to if there's a bunch of them, go back and listen to all of them, right? So that's not my preferred. Like type it out, man. Like leave a message, but maybe type something out. But yet at the
Yeah.
same time, I
Mhm.
can go back and forth with some people with those voice messages all day long. It just depends on like where I'm at physically. If I'm not in a public space, if I'm at my home, so I mean,
Mhm.
just that communication style, finding out like, do you prefer text? Do you want me to call you? Do you want me to text before I
Yeah,
call you?
yeah,
Those things,
yeah,
even with your
yeah,
clients, is important.
yeah. And so I love that you brought that up, Wendy. That is so like It's such a big thing, especially
Yeah.
because we are doing so much on social media. We do so much on text, right? Because
Yeah.
I know I've closed deals on text messages, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, there's a level of discernment that comes with that, right?
Mhm.
Like, yes, ask the person, you know, well, how do you prefer to be communicated with?
Yes.
And if you can't do that, you got to figure out how, right? And that's the
Right.
whole piece, right? You got to figure out how to communicate. Like, how
Yeah.
is that person? You got to be discerning to watch and see how the person is showing up so that
Right.
you can act, I mean, yes, it's guessing in a way, but
Right.
it's more of a discernment. Like for you,
Yeah.
Wendy, I see that you responded with texting on Messenger in a minute. So for
Yeah.
me, I wouldn't even have thought to put the
The
voicemail.
voice.
If I've done it, I might have done it one time
Yeah.
because you always text. So it's a
Yeah.
matter of like getting outside of ourselves, you
Yeah.
know. And that's the point, right? Like when you know who you are, you can. I tell people that I think I did a training on that on my Facebook page last week. When you know who you are and how
Yeah.
you show up, it's easier for you to see how other people show up because you already
Yeah.
know who you are, right? So you don't have to figure that out. Now you got to focus out and
Right.
see how people are, and that's part of closing the sale, getting the
Yes.
speaking gig, right?
Yep.
Right, talking to the client, re up in the all the
Yeah.
things. That's part of learning how to do that. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's something you gotta learn. If you don't have it innately, it's something that you get to learn because it's gonna shift your business once you figure that out. It
Right.
totally
Yeah.
is.
So do you feel like, oh, so obviously, I mean, just in our conversation already, I can see this is an important piece of like what you do as a coach. Because if
Yeah,
you're helping people gain leads, like communication is a huge part of that. So
big
can you
piece.
talk a bit about that? Like, how do you help your clients then like get more leads that are, more aligned for them?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's you first knowing your vision. What is your
Yeah.
vision for what you want to
Vision.
create? Where do you want to be in the next month, in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, even beyond? Because here's there's a mentor I have. Yeah, I learned this that you get to know your vision, right?
Right.
Perfect. When you know your vision, it's going to take you a long way. But when you have a mission, which is beyond that, that's going to
Ooh.
pull you forward in the days that your vision can't.
Oh, I love
That makes
that.
sense. And
Yeah.
so when you have that mission,
Mm-hmm.
what is the big thing that this is the thing that when your last breath is gone and they put you under the dirt, what is that thing for you that is going to make you wake up, get the next client, do the next call, like um go through I call it kiss a few more frogs, right? Kiss a
Right.
few more frogs to get to the people that you get to serve, to make
Wow.
the money that you want to make so that you can leave the legacy you want to leave. So that's what I do with the first call with any of my
Yeah.
clients. We got to figure that piece out because yes, you get to have the vision, but most people have the connotation that the vision is like a vision in, vision board in, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
No, it gets to be bigger than that. Because
Right.
on the days when you don't feel like, if you had, one of my mentors, she was like, I have a stomach bug this morning, but I'm here. Yeah. But if you don't have that willpower to go past the stomach bug,
Yeah.
you need something to move you there, right?
Yeah.
There's something that's in you, and I pull that out so that we can move things forward. So we start with vision, mission, right, and then we have more conversations about how that is going to take place in terms of your goals, and then we come up with a strategic plan, and then I help you to stay on task, stay on track to get to that goal.
Wow.
One of my clients, she actually did her 50% of her 5-year plan in 4 months. How did
Oh
we
my
do that?
gosh.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Huge, right?
Huge.
And I knew what I knew what she was doing, but when I said to her, what were your results? And she sent me the message and she typed it all out. I was like, yeah, you did it. She didn't realize what she did, by the way,
Oh, really?
because we keep her on track so so much so that she was just
Working is,
shifting
yeah,
her way of being and doing the things because the way of being comes before the things, by the way,
right.
right? and she
Yep.
got there, and I remember one of the big ones was shifting her house, shifting her location from where she was to a new property because she wanted to do some things with a bigger
Okay.
property. She has three boys, and she thought that it couldn't happen. She had, so that's why we put it on the 5 year plan, right? It was really,
Right.
really important to her. We did that in like, I think that was the first thing we did in 4 months,
That
you
is
know?
amazing to me.
So,
5 year
so
goals in
it,
4 months.
yep,
Just let's celebrate that for a second. That's huge.
absolutely.
That's huge.
Absolutely. It's huge.
Wow.
So, and imagine that when she came to me, she didn't even have a vision. When I asked her, "What's your vision?" She goes, "What's that?"
Yeah, like, huh. What do you
What
mean?
is? I was
Define
nobody
vision.
define vision. She says nobody ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's my juice. That's my jam, you know?
Yeah.
So I love when people come to me. And that's not the only thing they come to me for,
Right.
but I love when they come to me with those big, juicy, audacious goals
Yeah.
because if they don't believe, they can borrow my belief and we can do it together, right? So
This is
super
the
fun.
in watching you, and I hope anyone who watches this on the replay, put replayed, go back and watch this, Lorna, yourself. You light up when you talk about this. Like seriously, like you just all of a sudden it's like you're just this shining bright light as you're talking about this. I can see how
Really?
important this is to you. And
Yeah.
just in the way it comes across, like you're just
Thank you.
like I got goosebumps half the time when you're talking too. So it's so cool to watch. Seriously.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thanks,
But this
Wendy.
is the
Thanks for having
reason this is the reason why it's so important, I think, for people to invest in coaching
me.
because
Hmm.
we can only see so far to our own capability without somebody else's like insight into what they see around us too. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
then aligning with it, right? Because it
yeah,
all it takes alignment.
it
Alignment
does.
is the glue, right? Because
Hmm.
I could have vision for you all day long. I could see you doing big things in your
Yeah,
mission, but
but
if you're not connected to it, then
yeah,
right? So that's part of the thing, right? And then after that, then we go out and we find strategic partners to help you build your leads, your lead
yeah,
flow, so that you can close and convert and close
right,
more of the sales if that's the thing that you're working
right,
on when it comes to sales leads and coaching and speaking gigs and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
You know, we go out and we find those things. Those are just the tactics. The tactics are the
right,
same all day long, guys. Listen
yep,
when I tell you, taxes are the taxes. Mechanics are mechanics. That's
yeah,
they're all the same. Believe me.
yeah. The rungs of the ladder that you have to climb to get to the roof every single day. You have to keep going. You have to hit those every. You can't skip three rungs. You
Uh-huh.
have to do all of those tactics in order to be successful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's interesting as we talk about like what you do because I can see myself my before I hired a coach. I can see that I was basically throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was doing 10 different things. I was running a ballroom. I was speaking. I was teaching a kickboxing class. I was literally just like trying to make something stick because I didn't have a vision. I
Mhm,
couldn't see, I couldn't get everything. And I had people telling me, well, you need to just figure out your thing. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean by that. And that
mhm,
was basically them telling me, you need to have your vision. You need to find that. Because I didn't.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
thought that was just going to come to me. I thought, oh, it's just one day, one of these things is just going to be, it's just going to stand out. And I'm just going to know it. That was like my thought back then. And
yeah.
hired a
It's
coach. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's in you. It's in you.
Yeah.
You just get to have somebody pull it out.
Yeah.
And some coaches don't know that, right?
Right.
Again, they just know the tactics.
Yeah.
And so they tell you to do all the tactics, which you get
Right.
to do, right? Right?
Right.
Like that's like saying, what's coming to me is faith without works is dead, right?
Yes.
So the faith part is like getting clear. I mean,
Yeah.
just it's not this, it's not it, but it's part of getting clear on the vision, right?
Yeah.
So that you can have, because it says faith is about the things that you cannot see. You can't
Hmm.
you really can't see the vision. You just know where you want to go, right?
Right.
That's the faith, and then the action, the tactics.
Yeah.
You still once you know that, you got to do the tactics to get there. It's not you
Yeah.
just drop out the sky.
Yeah.
You gotta have a plan, and then you gotta implement the plan,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's all strategy, really. God
Yeah.
is strategic. The whole Bible is
Oh
strategic, by
yeah.
the way, just so you know.
And you said something really important is you have to take action. And I
Yes.
and I see that fall through, like, I have faith, or whether they're talking about laws of attraction, like, I've done the visualization, I've done all the things, but nothing's happening. I'm like, because you're not paying attention to the things that are putting ideas or strategies in your head to take the action.
Yeah.
They stop at this one point because they think it's just gonna, like, okay, you want a brand new car, right? And there's somebody who's all about laws of attraction, which is great, or faith. You
Hmm.
can visualize a brand new car in your driveway all day long, but until you take action, it's not just going to magically appear. Someone's not going to just drive a car in your driveway with a bow on top and say, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
more than likely, there's action you have to take. There's an idea that you're ignoring, maybe a new business, maybe it's that vision, but then it's the actions that's going to get you there. It's
Absolutely.
those
Absolutely.
tactics. Yeah.
So I want to bring something to your attention that you just said.
Hmm.
All the visualization is different from vision. I just wanted to
Yeah.
point that out because you just pointed that out really beautifully. But
Yeah.
I just want to make sure people didn't miss it. The visualization is different from vision.
Right.
Visualization is seen in your mind. Vision is like knowing that this is where I'm going. I don't
Yeah.
care what gets in my way. That's where I'm going. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if the dog died. I don't care if, I have a stomach ache. Short of dying,
Right.
you're getting there.
Right.
And so a lot of coaches don't take that stand for their clients.
Right.
That's what makes me different. I'm gonna take that stand for you. It's
I
gonna
love
sound, you know, aggressive, but that's a stand for you. That's a stand for you,
it.
and
Yeah.
you won't take the stand for yourself to get to where you want to go, and
I
you won't take
love
the
that.
actions to get to where you want to go.
I
Right?
love that. I love
Um,
that.
and it's so powerful. I'm gonna share a quick story with you about
Sure.
the car because you said the car, right? And as you said the car, it reminded me. I remember when I was getting my last car. I've always wanted a red car with a terracotta interior, right?
Ooh,
And I wrote it in my journal. I wrote it on my list. I had the vision for it, right? Because I'm
yep.
getting that car.
Mhm.
I don't know when, but I'm getting that car. And I remember doing the things I had to do to get the car. I was like, wow. When it happened, it was like when I made the decision, and we could go into
Mhm.
a whole nother conversation around decision, right? When I made the decision that I'm getting that car, after vision in it, right? Because you can
Yeah,
have a vision and not make a decision to move towards it, right?
right.
And I had to do some stuff, including selling some other cars to get to
Ooh,
that car. And then once I decided and I went out and I started to look, and I had somebody to help me find the car, but I went out, I drove a similar one to the car I wanted. I went out and drove the car,
yep.
right? And I went online and I started looking for the specific one with the red, with the
Mhm.
terracotta interior. I remember going out and looking in the internet for that. And then I called my friend and I told her, "This is the car I want. Go find it." Would you
Wow.
believe within a week she found it in Chicago? I
Oh
kid
my
you not.
gosh.
I kid you not. But my point is, the reason why I'm sharing it with you is
Yeah.
a couple of things happened, right? And back then, I wasn't this conscious, back then,
Yeah.
right? And when I look back, I see it, right?
Yeah.
I wanted that card. I had wanted it for so long. I had it in my journal for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I met the girl who could facilitate it, right? I
Mhm.
took action, looked it up on the internet. I also took action and drove a version of the same car,
Wow.
right? And then after that, within a week, she found it.
That's amazing.
So and I'm not woo woo or anything like that. I'm just showing
Oh,
you what happened
yeah.
because it's possible. That's possible with anything. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's believing that it's possible that gets in the way, right? And
Yeah.
so what do we get out of the way so that you believe again?
Oh, I
That's what
love
I do.
that. That's so brilliant. And I think if people, that's why they say hindsight's 2020, right? We can connect the dots. When we have amazing things happen in our lives, sometimes we forget to go back and say, okay, what were the steps that I took? How did I get here? How did I get on stage? I
Yeah.
hold an event for women. And last year, a friend of mine who's come to my event every year, she's just a beautiful soul. She has an incredible story. She's like, Wendy, I realize I want to tell my story someday, but I just can't see myself on stage. I don't know if I could do that. So at the end of the day, I'm like, come over here and I want you to stand on the stage and look out at us. And I just had a couple of gals, at the end of the event stand there and just had her like stand on stage in that, superhero pose. And I'm like, I just want you to envision yourself now sharing your, not even saying anything, just sometimes it's just putting yourself in the
In
car seat, stepping on the stage and just looking out and just saying, this is possible. You see, if you have to feel yourself in those places sometimes
Mhm.
to make the thing happen. So how can people make the thing happen if they hire you? What are some ways that people can work with you to make the thing happen?
Well, first of all, I right now I'm looking for cohorts for the next 30-day sprint to results.
Okay.
As I said, I work with coaches, speakers, female entrepreneurs who are service providers as well, and I help them to get the things that are in the way out of the way. And we
Okay.
go through a whole process in 30 days to get you. So you come in with a 30-day goal, and we work through a process with your mind as well as tactics to
Mm-hmm.
get you to that goal. So I'm now looking for the willing people, willing folks to jump into that cohort. And let's create some results for you. Let's create the results that you thought was going to take forever. We get to create that in a shorter period of time. We're going to collapse time and get you to have more money in your pocket to do what you want to do so that you can create the life that you want.
Wow.
So that's what I'm having to offer right now. So if you guys want to hear what that looks like for you, I'll give you a link so you can
Sure.
drop it in for them, Wendy, and they
Okay.
can
Perfect.
schedule a call with me. We'll see if they're a fit because I'm very specific now, especially
Good.
about who I work with. So it's
Right.
not for everybody, but I would love to have a conversation just to see if they're a fit for that program. And if they're not a fit for that, maybe we can, connect with something else. I have more
Right.
programs, but that's the one that I'm feeling right now is the 30 days sprint to results cohort. And what that looks like is a group. So you're going to have community as well as me on a daily basis to support you to those results.
I love when they do like a community sort of what you're doing because sometimes people are afraid to speak up and ask a question, but somebody else might. So that's why I
Somebody
think
else.
groups are important. Somebody else might ask the question that you're too afraid to ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
got
totally
that
get that.
feedback in from a one-on-one coach, from
Mm,
a one-on-one client. So then I decided, oh, I'm taking
mhm.
notes and shifted that so that the cohort that's going through right now, they're doing amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm telling you,
Wow.
once you come into clarity,
Mm,
clarity creates focus. Clarity creates results. When
wow.
you are clear, which is what I do for you, I get you clear so that you are going to take the steps that you get to take to get to the results, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's not all the tactics. And like I said before, tactics are tactics, but you get to show up.
Right.
When you show up, you can do the tactics all day long in your sleep, just like that.
Amazing. So what we'll
Mhm.
do is anyone who's watching this, especially in the replay, comment below if you want to talk with Lorna. Otherwise, we will add the link below so you can
Mhm.
schedule that one-on-one with her to make sure that you just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important that people make sure it's a good fit on both ends
Mhm.
for working with somebody. And I think this is a huge opportunity for people to come in and work with you at
Yeah.
this level to do this sprint. I think that's an amazing thing you're offering.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because
Thank
it
you.
collapses the time. So for
Yeah.
me, I've learned with all the coaches, I was a coach hopper too.
Right.
I'm just like you
Yeah, I've
until I
done it
figured it out,
myself.
right?
Mhm.
So coach hopping, and then you find the right coach to help you
Yeah,
is a game changer. So let's have a conversation, see if it's a right fit, and then we'll take it from there.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so happy I was able to showcase you today and share you with
Thank
my
you.
audience. I think, anyone who schedules that call, you're going to get a ton of value, even if you sign up or not. I guarantee Lorna is going to bring you, some sort of insight that you need. So thanks again so much, Lorna.
Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.